Sounds good.
Okay, hello, Tom Putnam. Why did you want to tell the story of the insane clown posse as well as the legal battles for the Juggalos in your documentary, The United States of Insanity?
When it started out, we didn't really know where the court case was going to go. We've been making the movie for 7 years, and our first shoot was them announcing they're going to sue the FBI with the ACLU. And I directed and produced the film along with Brenna Sanchez, and we started off just assuming the FBI had a good reason for putting the band and their 1 million fans on the gang list. It had never happened before. So ICP and their fans are considered gang members, along with MS-13, Aryan Brotherhood, Crips, Bloods. And over the last 7 years, as we've followed this crazy court case through, I mean, it's now, I think, one circuit below the Supreme Court, we discovered not just how scary it is that the FBI can make these decisions arbitrarily and there's nothing you can do about it. We also got to know the fans and the band and went home with them and interviewed, their moms and met family members and really fell in love with like the whole culture. So it's kind of two movies in one, where it's just look at the First Amendment, but it's also a look at this culture that everybody's heard of, but most people are too scared to go to the concerts or the gathering or, rock the music, although they shouldn't be. And it's kind of a look inside.
Okay, and how would you describe the average Juggalo?
Juggalo is the fan of Insane Clown Posse, which for people who don't know, is for years has been voted the most hated band in the world. The two guys dress up like clowns, but not fun clowns, like John Wayne Gacy type clowns. And the concerts are loud, they're crazy. There's a lot of like play violence, like in a like Evil Dead type level. And fans of ICP, you're not just a casual fan. You're like how Deadheads are, or were. You wear the clothes every day. You listen to the music every day. You know when Violent J and Shaggy 2 Dope's birthdays are. And the band feels the same way about their fans. You saw a lot of that in the movie. And so they call themselves a family, which at first people make fun of that, but then you go to the concerts or the gathering and like a Juggalo can show up with like no money, no food, no clothes, no place to stay. And within 5 minutes, a bunch of strangers have hooked them up. And that was something that just, I didn't expect. That was awesome. I mean, who doesn't want that kind of friendship in their lives?
Definitely, yeah, it's hardcore. They're in it to the very end.
Yeah, and so there's a lot of like love and this family atmosphere, but at the same time, I mean, you go to the gathering and it's like a cross between Burning Man and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's just like crazy. It's the craziest thing you'll ever go to. And so we kind of, with the movie, tried to have people experience that, but also see the care and compassion and friendship that's underneath all the surface craziness.
So how did you meet Violent J and Shaggy 2 Dope? And with the face paint off, what are they like?
So Brenna and I had made our previous documentaries called Burn, and we spent a couple of years with the Detroit Fire Department, riding around on fire trucks and watching buildings blow up and looking at stuff on fire. And we finished that, and we're trying to figure out, wow, like what can we make that's 1/5 that exciting and also has a message? And Brenna read a story about ICP and where they were at and just cold called their office. And luckily they'd seen Burn, our last movie, and were fans of it. And she said, we think we might want to make a documentary about you guys. And they said, can you have a film crew here tomorrow? Because we're having a press conference and announcing we're suing the FBI. And that's the first scene in the movie. We always interview them with the face paint on. I mean, I've seen them plenty of times with the face paint off, but we realized, and they talk about in the film, having the face paint on just sort of gives them a freedom to say whatever they want to say. And when you see them with the face paint off, they look so different. It's like two different people. So just, I think at a certain point in the movie, you kind of forget the face paint, and that's just kind of what they look like in the film.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting, like bands like Slipknot or like rappers like MF Doom, when they have like a get up, like a costume, you look at it differently. You can't help, but not be distracted, but be pulled in by the visual appearance.
Yeah, they're really unique in that, like, you can look at somebody like Guar, and
Yeah.
they're playing it's 100% a character. They're space warriors, and with ICP, they're playing these characters, but then underneath that, when you listen to a lot of the lyrics, it's about really personal struggles and violence that they've experienced and how they're trying to overcome that. So I think they're a really unique mix of something that's really cartoony and something that's really, really real, that their fans just, I mean, it connects with them in a way I've never seen.
Yes, so definitely solidarity with people who are depressed, people who are outcasts, all that stuff. But the Violent J and Shaggy Two Dope are family guys and are not running around with chainsaws killing people.
Not as far as I know. I feel like the FBI would have figured that out. But at the same time, you know, we went into this without an agenda, and we get into some pretty gnarly crimes committed by Juggalos. And, you know, we wanted to make sure that we showed that side of it too. And where we landed, which I think is pretty fair, is you take 1 million of anybody, you're going to find some people who are pretty damaged. And you take 1 million people for whom they're fans of a band that sings about trauma. Yeah, maybe, you know, maybe that percentage is going to be higher, but does that mean an entire fan base should be considered a gang? It would be like saying all Dodgers fans are gang members because some gang members rep the hats.
So it's profiling.
No, very much so. You can be walking down the street wearing an ICP concert t-shirt, no criminal record. The police can and do pull over, photograph you, put you in the gang database. You can't join the military, can't get a student loan, can't get social services. If you're in the military or law enforcement, you'll get kicked out. We interviewed a guy in Arizona, Sean Wolf, whose son was put in a group home for 6 years because Sean had an ICP poster on his wall. You know, we're filming with a lady in Ohio by complete accident when she gets fired for being a juggalo. And it's crazy to think that that can happen in America. Or is it not so crazy now? I don't know.
Well, it's not right. I mean, here
Yeah.
I am. I'm wearing a red champion hoodie with black scorpions on it, and an only built for Cuban links cap. And I could go outside, and people might look at me like I'm a weirdo, but I face no risk of profiling.
Yeah,
and
you're not going to go to jail.
No, I will not go to jail for wearing this. Maybe I'll get followed, but you know, as long as I don't commit any crimes, I think I'm good to go. But you like if you wear like the necklace with the hatchet, what is it? I forget what it is, but if you get questioned and if you get ID'd by the cops, that's like, you know, it's on your record
Permanently. Yeah. And we interviewed so many juggalos who are active military or in Homeland Security or law enforcement or who work in jails. And they're fans of this band. They might have the tattoos, and they have to cover all of that up when they go to work, or they'll get fired. It's I didn't believe it when I heard it. And now, I mean, you see the movie and you see it's happening.
Well, it's like if you're against racism and homophobia, you should be against this too, because it's still a violation.
Yeah. And the guy, I'm really glad the movie took as long as it did, because when it starts out, they just think it's a joke. Oh, we're gang members. Yeah. Maybe the FBI will come to our office and buy some stickers. And by the end, I mean, they're marching on Washington and giving a speech in front of the Lincoln Memorial, and it become these like hardcore warriors for the First Amendment. And you see their perspective change. And I think one of the things that was cool when they did the March on Washington, huge percentage of the people in that march weren't juggalos. They heard what was happening and they thought it was wrong and wanted to support them. And I think that's been really, really cool to have seen first person, but it's also been really cool to show the movie. We just released the movie on 666 screens, complete coincidence, by the way. And people walk out of the movie and they have this look on their face and they're like, I think I might be a juggalo. And that's when you know, like, all right, cool. Like you had the experience we had. You see a lot of yourself in that.
Right. Okay. I like ICP. I don't love ICP. Do you have but you know, I stand in solidarity with the Juggalos. I'm pro Juggalo. Do you have a favorite track by them?
Yeah, Bang Pow Boom. It's the end titles in our movie, which I just want to live in. Like, it's the best party song that there is. And man, if you have a chance to go to a concert,
Mhm.
go. It's the best concert you'll ever go to. It's so much fun. Your clothes will get destroyed because they spray Fago soda pop on everybody. But
Yeah.
it's a great time.
I almost saw them. They came to my city. Maybe I'm in Ottawa, Ontario. They came here. I'm going to say 2 years ago,
Yeah.
and I almost went, but I couldn't quite. I love Do It for the Homies and Let's Go All the Way, but I don't
Yeah.
know. Some of it's a little too much for me.
Those are good. Well, let's go all the way as a cover. So did you like the original?
Who did the original?
Oh man, I can't remember.
Whatever. I will check it out though. I will check it out.
Yeah, I mean, they're you watch their videos. The videos are great. Like the music's fun. The concerts are fun. People love them. So it's like if you have 1 million fans and you've been around for 30 years, it's not by accident.
Definitely not. Okay, so how does it feel to personally challenge the narrative of the FBI? Is that a fun thing? Is it fun and also a pain in the ass?
Oh, it's horrible. I mean, it's the FBI. I will say we were able to get a fair number of high level law enforcement people to speak on camera, which is great. The FBI can't because it's an active case. And there's my favorite scene in the film is where we basically get in a fight with the ATF while we're filming, and then like the ATF guy flips us off as he drives away. And I think that kind of says everything, right? They're bullies.
Right.
And they show up, but if you confront them and push back, they take off.
And the targeting of the Juggalos has to be part of the wider hip hop task force, which is apparently the first target was Mr. Sean Combs, P. Diddy himself.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to NWA, right? Or Two Live Crew. And I mean, I think the reality is like America hates the poor. And it's mostly like poor kids who love the music. So they're an easy target. Would they go after, fans who had more power? No, I mean, they're bullies.
Yeah, it definitely like I like the late Prodigy from Mobb Deep, and I think his prison sentence made him a little psychotic, let's just say. But he thinks that the hip hop task force is basically there to make sure there isn't, black or even poor people getting into elite circles. That's basically the idea.
Absolutely. People in power, they get scared when they see other people start to have power. And I mean, it's no different with a fan base, right?
Yeah. I think sometimes people will throw around lumping capitalism with democracy and not like a meritocracy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, here's a band that has sold 10 million records, incredibly successful, and they did it completely outside mainstream music. And as a result, mainstream music and mainstream music reviewers hate them. And I mean, there's plenty. There's a lot of bands that I think have a lot less to offer, that are accepted. You open the Rock and Roll Guide and it goes Incubus, In Excess. There's no Insane Clown Posse.
I mean, I listen to Insane Clown Posse sometimes. I don't listen to Incubus at all.
Good for you.
Okay. Well, Tom, thanks very much for your time. Before I let you go, one more question. Could you give me a quick little synopsis for your upcoming documentaries?
Sure. First of all, if people want to see the movie, it's going to be out on iTunes, Amazon, Microsoft, and Google, and DVD starting Friday. You can go to icpmovie.com to find out more. And next up is a follow-up to our Burn documentary, where we spent the last 10 years. Apparently, I need to make movies that take forever to get done. Spent 10 years with the same firefighters from the first movie, and have some other cool stuff on the horizon to be determined.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Michael.